Think I wish I saw the fall. My feelings were like no other. You took me by the hand and then showed me the door. I misinterpreted the way you talked and the looks you gave me. Remember what you said, even something is. Tiny little spark I see when you're going to break down. I can see your eyes and there's nothing there's no telling. Was everything it seemed or was the light hiding what I could see? Remember what you said, and something else.
Reporting from deep inside the Everfree forest, it's Everfree Northwest Presents with our host, Dapper Jack.
Light Silver.
And let's not forget our fearless chat mod, Line Monkey.
Now with the latest news from Everfree Northwest.
All right, this week has been kind of slow, or well, this couple weeks, so to speak. Not quite used to doing the double week thing yet as a veteran podcaster, but we have a video, another one in the line of the On the Road to the Everfree Northwest series. This one is Horsing Around. So if you enjoyed the first video, or if you just want to see more about it, haven't watched it yet but are interested, go check it out. It's lots of fun times with lots of fun people doing fun things full of fun.
Yeah, and this, and we didn't play it this time because of the odd nature of our show, but one of the people in this show who actually played Derpy, or in this little, I guess, yeah, it's a series, the Journey to Everfree series. This is the second installment of it, and she played Derpy in it. That's, what is it? Is it Blue?
Yes,
Blue?
Blue, a lovely composer for the intro music, and also one of the people in the music department for Everfree Northwest. Blue, if you're out there, I am awaiting the answer to my application. Let it be. Let me go
Oh yeah,
on.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, you applied.
I am full of the anxiety, but I am glad that they are taking their time and actually going through every single one and not just throwing people out or
Oh
anything. But I
yeah.
got it in time. They got my song. They hear what I got. Time will tell, but Blue.
Oh, she was actually one of the directors too. Apparently, by looking through the credits some more.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah.
on a production like that, pretty much everybody there ends up being at least partially a director.
Yeah, I guess in some way, but it lists her and one of the other guys, Galileo. I think I know
Oh,
that fella
yeah.
too.
That'd be the head of Everfree Northwest.
What?
Isn't?
No.
Last I checked.
Marcane is. Oh wait. Okay, wait.
Wait.
There's a confusing thing. Do you mean Everfree Northwest or the Pegasus Corporation?
I don't know. Galileo is the head of one of them, though. I
I
remember that.
know.
He's on up tops.
Marcane is head of the corporate side, and Galileo is on the. I could have sworn he's on the committee, like, or no, not on the committee. The board of directors.
Maybe?
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, politics. Yeah,
You know what? That is basically what it is. But
a little behind the scenes of the con politics and who is what and where and when. Just know that Galileo is high up in there.
yeah, he can strike you down,
Raw.
send you to the ground, hollow depths. All right, but let's move on to the fandom news now.
Okay, starting off, we have preview pages for the issue 18 of the comic. They've finally gone up on iTunes, so if you have iTunes or if you don't, you can go get it. It's free, last I checked. And if you're interested in the comic, which will be coming out on the 30th of this month, just check out the preview pages. They're free. Just give it a read, see what you think. Or if you'd rather, be surprised and all that, just wait until it comes out on the 30th of the month. And you'll be able to find that on iTunes as well, I believe. So if you like the comic, go check it out.
Yep. And MLB is turning 30. What is it? Is it today? Yeah, today. 30th anniversary of the entire thing, obviously, not the fourth generation, but
Yeah, it doesn't look a day over 4.
no, it doesn't, because thankfully, well, I guess, that would be kind of interesting if it did make it to 30. I don't know if that'd be a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, there was a pretty big lull in there, because if you think about it, the last really big series before Generation 4 was in, like, the 80s, and then I guess if you count, it's always been around because there were the direct-to-DVD, Gen 3 and Gen 3.5, but if you don't count those, really, there was a good 20-year gap
20
between
years? No
this
way.
one and the last one. Well, maybe not 20, but at least a decade between the two, if you're not counting the direct-to-DVD actual broadcast series.
I could have sworn it was broadcast, at least in some places. Well, it's probably just because the ratings started falling so badly that
Yeah.
a lot of probably corporations wouldn't really take them up.
Yeah, I think is why they had to make the hub to begin with, because they weren't really getting any footing with the Cartoon Networks or the
Oh
Nickelodeons.
no, and why
They just
would
gotta, yeah, so they had to, we got the monies, we can put up our own thing, do our own shows, and get it all snazzled together. And then they got us, and then suddenly, boom, it is one of the top contenders. It's rivaling the Cartoon Network and the Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, well they got supporters and backing now. Hopefully that teaches them something about production of good artwork.
Yep, fan power, or whatever you'd call it.
Yeah, but that's surprising that it's 30 years since the original conception of the idea, and thankfully it's come a long ways from that. But yeah, it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Even thinking about it, people who would have been, people who would have been born even 5 years before it came out they could be renting a car right now.
I'm actually kind of curious. Who was the original creator of the show?
Ooh. Oh,
And you know what? As a tribute to kind of them.
yeah. Let me.
Hold on.
What's the name? I I can see her in my head. I know I've seen
Oh,
images.
it's yeah. Wait.
It,
Bonnie
it's
Zaka. I can't pronounce this last name. I'm not positive. It's
yeah, I think
it's Zacherle.
El Zachary.
Zacherle? I don't know.
Yeah.
Her region is Episcopalian. I don't know. I've never heard of this. It's
Episcopalian.
Episcopalian. There it is.
Yeah, I've heard of that. It's, I don't know what it means.
Region.
So
Yeah.
it's people.
Yeah, but she's the original creator.
Yeah, it seems about right. I feel like she was probably someone who, as a young kid, probably had the like horse toys where you'll see the real realistic just little horse figurines,
Oh yeah.
which seem to have taken the place of dolls and things back in the olden days. Well, pre everything in that. So
Oh, and
it just probably just came out of that she just wanted to make it a more chibi sort of thing, if that was an ideal.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that. The eyes are just not big enough for that. The current ones are. Actually, you know what? I would like to see what she thinks of the current generation.
I'm sure she'd be happy with it. But at the same time, that actually is a good question. Has anybody even really talked to her out of
I don't
the fandom?
know. Yeah, we should definitely.
She seems like she'd be a pretty high profile person.
Well,
in
I
the
don't really know
fandom.
about that. I mean, yeah, her pretty much involvement, it says, concluded long before the later development of the current generation.
Huh.
She is pleased with the franchise, has grown to a broader appeal, she said, to a broader cross-demographic audience. And that she originally intended for the franchise to attend to both.
That's, yeah. I feel like with what she was doing, that probably never would have happened. But it is good to see that is what she originally intended, and that is more or less what happened. Though I think she probably would have preferred more just a general children of all gender thing, rather than children of all ages, as it is.
Oh yeah. I actually, I don't know. We should really try and get in touch with her. Maybe we can do it. Maybe.
Ooh, that would actually be very interesting.
If the
Tim needs
heavens
to get
look
on this.
upon us favorably, we might be able to.
We need interview Tim.
Yeah. So let's see if we can do that in the future. That'd be a really cool thing to do. I'd personally like to speak with her.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, now moving on, we have a new release for the blind bags coming from Taobao, which is an online company. I believe you can really only special order these, but it is a new custom Luna model, which is very nicely modeled. Colors are off, as a light solver will be wont to tell you.
Yeah.
But for the most part, aside from, I think the hair looks kind of detached, which is kind of
Yeah.
but it looks pretty well modeled. Otherwise, very very clean lines, nice posture and all that. The expression is actually interestingly lifelike, which is something that some modelers are having trouble with when it comes to figurines like this.
Yeah, but one thing that's gonna bug me is that color. It's not blue. That's purple. It's just not right at all. But, why do they have that problem all the time? They always do purple. I don't get that. I mean, I think one of these times they'd be bound to get it kind of right one of these days.
Well, even then, even if they got the body colors right, they'd never really be able to get the main right because of the whole
the color the color on that is actually fairly close. not far off, or at least a hell of a lot closer than the body. So
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think we may do that.
All right. Well, if you do enjoy figurines and like that, you could go to Taobao and check that out. And also, if you go to Equestria Daily, you can check out some specials from 1984 on the 30th anniversary page that they put up. So if you're interested in pre-Gen 4 stuff, then that'd be the place to go. Now, moving on to our bumper music, we have Sphinx Verisimilitude. I believe it's a Glaze remix.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll do that one again. I don't mind listening to it once more and things like that.
Yeah, this is a Wooden Toaster remix of a Glaze song, I believe. So enjoy.
All right. And if the audio doesn't work for just a second, don't worry. I was just testing this out. But all right, here we go.
Think I wish I saw the fall. My feelings were like no other. You took me by the hand and then showed me the door. I'm misinterpreting the way you talked and the looks you gave me. Remember what you said. It's tiny little spark I see when you're going to break down. I can see your eyes in the stars, so tell me, was everything it seemed, or was the light hiding what I could see? Remember what you said, and something like this.
All right, welcome back. Today we'll be talking about Equestria Girls. You've heard of it, you know about it, you know the scandal.
You
the
fear
very
it.
deep depths of darkness that the Hub and Hasbro have gone to with such a blatant thing that is, yes. I don't know what the problems is with this, because really, I'm kind of a realist when I look at what Hasbro does, and I do remember that they are a toy company. They're the people that put out the Transformers movies and the G.I. Joe movies, the live action ones, and it's like, considering those, this isn't that bad, because this yeah. So let's start from the beginning here. About when did it come out? Let's see, was that about a year ago?
Yeah, sounds about right. Actually, yeah, it was about this time that they either announced that they were working on it or that it came out.
Right,
But
yeah. So around early 2013, there was an announcement, and I think there were rumors for quite a while, and people were like, "Is this a joke? Did somebody make this up?" But image of the main six in this sort of Monster High style, and really there was no way around it. It looks like Monster High, but with My Little Pony. And honestly, yeah, well, even then, it's like it was Monster High or Bratz or any of those sort of similar things. Which honestly, Bratz wasn't that bad either. People are always freaking out about it, and I hate the designs. But if you watch any actual Bratz straight to DVD things, because I have younger sisters, so I've been on top of things for quite some time. So yeah, it's really not that bad, but there was an immediate backlash. Everybody freaked out. They said, "Death to the fandom! I'm jumping the ship." Yeah, after all the people, the friend who's always, the fandom's dead at the slightest drop of a pin. The second there's a princess or there's a wings or there's a human eyes, it's death to the fandom. I'm gone. They leave for about a week and then they come back and they're like, well, I'll give it a try. And then they see it and they're like, oh my God, it was the best thing ever. And it's like, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not knocking anyone who reacts that way. Everybody has their own thing. Well, yeah, I'll tell you to calm yourself down, because it's really not the end of the world, and you can just calm yourself. I'm known for being quite dramatic myself, but I will take things as they come, and I'll wait at least a few weeks before freaking out. So yeah, a lot of people were freaking out about it, and that was fun. So a lot of people left the fandom, and a good portion of them returned, which is fine. But yeah, people would see it in theaters and things, and they'd say it's actually a lot better. And it took me a while before I actually found it, which didn't take too long. But I saw it, and I believe Light, you saw it as well, right?
yep.
Yeah. So let's break the movie down. Let's get into our at the movies thing here.
Well, I
So
mean, just before you do, you mentioned at the beginning of this about how a lot of people saw it and were just like, "Oh, this is terrible," things like that. And yes, compared to all the other stuff that they've created, well, I mean, might I remind you actually, Hasbro themselves didn't actually create this. This was actually, well, okay, yeah, they had a part in it, but it was Studio B who was the primary force
well, they
creating it.
approved it. That's the thing, and that is, yeah. When
The
we go
team who
into
was
that,
making it created, and so compared to their work, this is so subpar for them.
yeah.
But
Well, I feel like
also,
I feel like
as
there was still quite a lot of studio meddling from
oh,
Hasbro. It
I know
feels
that
like.
there was. I can bet you that there was a lot of it. I mean, of course there is.
Yeah, I could probably pretty much guarantee there was, at the very least, the premise was their idea.
Oh, certainly. Just, um, I know that I did watch that thing where at one of the conventions, I can't remember who said this, but one of the people on the show actually said that it was in a response to the artwork in this fandom, like what they saw, what they took in as would be a
Uh,
good idea. But I'd have to disagree with that.
because of so many people doing humanizations, I could
I haven't
understand.
actually honestly seen, relatively to what there normally would probably be if that was a super popular concept, I haven't seen that many. If anything, I really don't see that as a common. I really didn't see that as a common thing before.
Well, let me ask you, Light, how far have you gotten into Tumblr Pwn?
Plenty, and I know you
Because
do
I
see it
was,
now and then. Yes, you do see it now and then, but it's not in a big extreme thing. It's just like,
I don't
hey,
know,
here's an
because
idea. This is what I thought would be kind of funny or cool.
yeah, I don't know, because I was pretty deep into Tumblr Pawn towards the beginning, and I had opportunities to go farther, and I was like, I'm gonna pull myself out of the Stygian abyss now. I don't want to go any farther into this, which was, I feel, a good decision.
It just
Save yourselves now, kids.
depends on where you stay. It's kind of like, I don't know. One could say it's a little bit like Imager, or not Imager, but Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit has its own problems too.
Yeah,
Let's
Reddit.
not get into that at the moment, because that's a whole nother tangent.
But the thing that a lot of people, the thing about the show is, I mean, it doesn't matter what you've made before, what you know, who you are or whatever. When it comes to the artwork, it does nothing else matters outside of it. And it should be reviewed as the artwork itself. And as the artwork itself, it isn't that great.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's
It's
pull
good at
our
parts, but it's
let's pull our Dapper and Solver sort of at the movies thing here. That being, I would be the Ebert in this equation. But let's start from the bare basics. The plot, which it came between seasons 3 and season 4. So I believe so, right?
yeah, right after
yeah, it was.
the whole wings thing.
Yes, right after the last crisis that all the overdramatic people jumped ship for. But yeah, it comes right about after that. So it's Twilight in Canterlot, and she is getting used to being a princess. She's got the wings, she's got the crown, and she's getting used to the wings. And she's really feeling like she doesn't quite buy the crown. She doesn't want to wear it. She's not comfortable with wearing it because she's just like all you normal folk, all
And,
you
well,
backwoods country humble brag.
another thing is that I do really like is continuity. They did, preserve the continuity with that, which was an awesome thing. I'm happy that they did do that.
Yeah. No, I do like that that's there, but at the same time, it makes it a lot put it as being non-canon.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, they did state that it's outside the show, so
Yeah. Well, it's
we can just call it
yeah,
Hasbro's fanfic.
more or less. Yeah. So going off of that, she's not into the crown, she's not into the wings. She's humble bragging it up because she wants to be like a normal kid, but she is big in the princess. But then she's asleep at night, and someone comes and steals the crown, and they run through some portal through a place that isn't explained at first, and they say, well, Twilight, you gotta go get the crown, because you gotta have the crown, because it's got powers and such, and it was really Starlight Shimmer or something, I can't remember. She was basically is supposed to be the polar opposite of Twilight, even in her name, which is basically Twilight Sparkle.
No,
but
that would be Duskshine.
No. That would be for Still Dark. The polar opposite would be light. So Sunlight Shimmer.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke on the polar opposite because that's a common like Rule 63 kind of thing.
Oh, fun.
That's the joke.
Yes, and she's all warm colors, whereas Twilight is cool colors, and completely opposite, though. Going straight yellow and red gives more of a condiment feeling that does a
condiment.
Yeah.
Honestly,
more of a,
I did think of her as some. She did remind me a lot of condiments, like ketchup and mustard. That and like I don't know, kind of like maybe the sun or something.
Yeah, what is she, a classmate or a hamburger? Hey, I got a million of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
Anyways, let's scoot along. So she has to get the crown back, and it turns out that the only way to get the crown back is to become prom queen, because of course.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a major plot hole right there. For one, it's just like she can't go and ask. Hey, that's mine. That's my property that somehow was left on the ground right there. Can I have that back? She's like, no, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna say it's used for the purposes of whatever we want. That's kind of a little
well,
bit.
the thing is, in that universe, that crown does exist as the homecoming crown or the prom crown or whatever it
Really,
was.
does
I
it?
can't.
That exact crown.
That's the idea. That's what
That
she
makes no
switched it.
sense.
That's what she did was that when she came to steal the crown, she switched it with the actual crown from the prom. And if Twilight
Oh,
hadn't
that's
woken
what
up,
she
then
was.
she probably wouldn't have noticed.
Okay, then that's like severe coincidental, and I mean,
Well,
that
it's
while
parallel universes. It's with very tiny changes over a long period of time. Any parallel universe will fracture, but still have quite a lot of
well,
similar
hold on.
factors.
You see, that's the thing that kind of bugged me is that they weren't. What angle that they were playing this from? It's like they were trying to play this from 5 different angles, like the world building, as it was like this parallel universe that's a parallel universe of our world, or no, sorry, a parallel universe of their world, but converged with our world. It's like it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Oh, yeah. Something we should mention, which I realize we haven't pointed out at this point because we, I think, are assuming most people have heard about this. She goes to a parallel universe where everyone's a human, but everyone still has
I don't know if
pony
we can really
belts.
say it was a parallel universe exactly. We kind of has to assume it is because of just the super similarities in
It's
everything.
some kind. It would have to be a parallel universe, though, if you think about it, though, because
Really?
it
Would
couldn't
it?
be.
Really? I mean, besides the fact that they're all walking around and that there's buildings and cars and all that. Parallel universe, totally.
Again, it's with a parallel universe. If you actually follow multiverse theory, which is where parallel
I do.
universes would come in, you have to go back to wherever a small split happened, and it could have happened so long ago that it completely changed evolution entirely, billions and billions back, so that it would lead up to a completely different life form that still has similar factors in sense of color and style and things like that.
Well, I mean, even with that, upon the multiverse theory, with that, the change would have been so significant that that most of that would be severely different. It would be an incredibly rare possibility that that exact same society would have still formed. Actually, even the societal structure is completely different between the two worlds, but yet all the same personalities form.
Right. But you have
in
to
the
remember
same
that
area, which is kind of questionable.
even though it is a very low probability, the fact is with multiverse theory there is an infinite number of universes, so this one had to exist in some way, and by having so many
Yeah.
similarities, that is why they're linked by the portal, because they're similar enough that they can actually cross together.
That's a headcanon. I mean, we're just drudging completely into kind of a headcanon thing here, and so that's more of a headcanon, definitely.
Man, I don't know. A wizard did it. It's magic. Come on.
Yeah, we could pull that card. I hate to pull the magic card, even though the show, you know what,
That's-
thinking about it, that's a whole Deus
That's
Ex
kind of
Machina of that statement.
That's honestly what their actual explanation is. It's magic. Just roll with it. It's a portal. You don't need a explanation,
I'm a
girls. It's okay.
scientist. I don't believe in magic.
Okay, so catching up on the plot, Twilight Sparkle human now had to deal with that Spike's a dog. All of the same characters exist. They're just human, and they have the exact same color scheme somehow. But apparently none of the main 6 are actually friends together, and apparently the Twilight from that universe lives at a different school elsewhere in the city because she's, gifted and all that, so she's going to a private school, which is why they never run into each other. So she has to get them all back together, and she has to become prom queen, and they have to do all kinds of music and profitability and
toys.
toys.
Yeah, but you know what? On the subject of Spike, I honestly I know probably why they brought him in. They brought him in so that way she would have somebody to verbally communicate, so that way she could say, why are they doing this out loud? And it wouldn't be like kind of bizarre as to... And I know why they did it, but I'm thankful that they brought him in, but I'm still kind of have to laugh at the fact that they did make him that way.
Yeah, and that's even kind of a laziness excuse, because really, that he's just an excuse for lazy writing, for
No,
speaking exposition out loud, which is
no,
basically
that's a tool to be used, and that's not it's not a bad tool. It's just fine, you know, that they
eh,
use that tool, but it's just kind of funny because he is really necessary with Twilight in a lot of instances, but yet he is just so overlooked in the show. You know,
I know I feel
they
like
don't give two shits about him.
my policy on writing when it comes to a visual medium such as film is that if you couldn't do it as a completely silent film and get the same story across, then it doesn't you're kind of doing it wrong. You need to be able to if otherwise you may as well be doing it as an audio drama if you're just going to be, saying everything that's going on because the visuals should be what's pushing the story along and while
Well,
dialogue can be in there and I'm saying that it is good to have dialogue and it can work towards the story, an overabundance of dialogue as exposition if Spike wasn't there, they would probably have just done it as voiceover, which is one of the lazier ways to do exposition.
well, hold
Again,
on.
which this is just my writing brain going crazy on this, but
Here's the
that's
difference.
yeah.
Film is a completely different medium. It's a completely different ballpark, and it's like with any style of art, it is not a certain. It is its own style of art. Go figure. But so a silent film is a different style of art in its own right. I mean, you could have silent film and you could have an audio drama or a documentary, and there is something in between, and what is in between is what we commonly see as film, and the audio is an important thing, and it is equally important as the video, and it's using those two together. Neither one should be really this over powerful tool or
Okay,
this underutilized tool. I mean,
yeah, maybe I think I kind of said what I was trying to say wrong.
I
What
get
I'm
what you were trying
basically
to say,
trying to
though. I
say
get
is
what you're trying
that
to say. The visuals should be strong enough so that way a person can get maybe an idea of what's going on in the situation. They should definitely assist when necessary in
yeah.
building the scenario. It should be, well, almost I kind of say believable.
Yeah,
But I don't know how to.
there are right and wrong ways to do exposition, and I feel like I feel like it works here, but at the same time, I feel like it's a touch lazy, just like how some of the writers will use Celestia completely for exposition instead of actually making her be the character that she is, and that comes down to being kind of lazy as far as writing goes. So, I mean, it's up to you whether you like it or not, but me personally, I prefer like a lot more like I prefer a clever way to get exposition through.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. That it would be nicer if there were some better ways, but I'm fine with the way that they did use to pull exposition through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Okay.
it just really pokes fun at the fact that they don't really give two shits about that character, and that bugs the crap out of me because I feel he
Yep.
needs to be developed so much more.
I feel like that's the problem with I'm getting into the writing of the show here, but that's one of my bigger problems with the writing of the show is that there are good writers on the show. There are very good writers on the show, but you can tell when there's a weaker writer because they'll focus on one or two of the characters and then kind of just pigeonhole the other characters into their most obvious traits, which
Yeah.
is not what the show is about. The show is about all of the characters are very different characters. They like if you take Fluttershy, a really bad writer is just going to make her really shy and really quiet, and that's boring because that's one facet of it. Whereas if you look at episodes where she's allowed to have a character, you realize that she has definitely a personality. She's just not outgoing about it. Like with the, I wish I was a tree line. She's a goof. With the I'm older than you line. Well, she clearly gets insulted at
I'm a
stuff.
year older
It's
than you. I
exactly.
love that. That was great.
Exactly. That's a great line because it's personality. It's actually showing that she's more than just this shy character.
Yeah,
She's an actual.
she's not as simple. She's dynamic, and dynamic is interesting because we don't completely understand it.
Yeah, it's the same as, or, if you want to go Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie, the easiest way you could do it is just have her be fast and loud and happy and bouncy. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but she does have other stuff going on with her, like her
There's a dark
madcap
side
antics
to
or
her.
her. Yeah, definitely a dark side, and it's just no, it's just character should always, in my mind, when it comes to writing, if there is a character piece, character should come first,
Yeah, a dark
and
side
then
that can kill.
yeah, character should come first, and then if you have the characters written well enough, the plot and the dialogue and everything will follow.
Yeah, well, hopefully, if the characters are an essential part, but I mean, like to say, there is also the world building, and
And the world, if you do world building correctly, the world itself will become a character. Like, and this isn't really pony related, but if you go to I
well,
can't remember what it is, but if you've ever read the I'm blanking on that too. Robin from Batman and Robin, he left and he went to the other town and he became his own superhero. The town he's in became its own character in that series because the world itself had a personality. The way things worked within themselves. So the world itself played off of them. Or like in Lost, where the island itself was alive and it had a character to it, and you could tell what it was going to do and why it did things to move things along. That's proper world building. It should be obvious what would happen within the world within this setting.
I get what you're going with there. That I see that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that with proper characters and a proper world building thing, which is a subset of character really, is the story will write itself. Which, I mean, obviously you still need to put the effort in, but I'm saying it'll be much more organic if you let the characters and everything work for themselves.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying, but
Yeah.
it'd be
Okay,
nice to see
so
more. Basically, it'd be nice to see more.
yeah. All right, so let's see where we left off in plot. Twilight's in there. They've all been broken apart. They've all been broken apart, and then Twilight has to get them back together. She does it by showing that Sunset Shimmer, I think,
Yeah,
was
that
her
was
name.
kind of weak. It's just like, what the hell, did anyone kind of think, why weren't you
Yeah,
talking
why
to
did
me?
you?
Why
why
did you
did
stop talking to me?
why did they trust Sunset is my question. It's like, oh, this random person who we don't know came in out of nowhere and said, hey, this person who you've been friends with forever, they're not good. It's like, oh, I'll trust you, random person.
Yeah, or it's
It's
just
like,
like that person you've been friends with forever didn't come to help you one time. I mean, like, could you imagine what it would have been like if the reason that they didn't come that one time was because they were in a car accident or their mother was dying or something
yeah,
like that?
and even if
Imagine
it's
how much of an asshole they would have felt like if they said, I'm not friends with you because you didn't help me out one time.
yeah, even if it's not that, it's like you would ask what happened.
Yeah.
Like if you actually were good friends, you would ask what happened, or you would find out, and you might be hurt. But if it turns out it was a mistake, it's like, well, we should look into this because we're friends. We've known
Yeah.
each other a long time, and this random person, yeah. So
Good friends don't really just kind of say, well, whatever, I don't really care anymore.
yeah, that's sort of the thing. Is this plot here is pretty weak. It's basically a high school movie, and high school movies can be done well, but really, even the good ones are only okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they go on with that. They do all this sort of cheerleadering, ginging. They bring back school spirit or something. I can't remember. Then there's the dance. I think Twilight wins. They all turn into anthros, and there's a big fight. There's like a demon
Oh,
or
wait,
something.
okay, yeah, the fight. Oh my god, the fight. They didn't even need the Deus Ex Machina to begin with, apparently. What
Whoa.
the hell?
It was inside you all along, Dorothy. Twilight, sorry.
Okay, yeah, that.
Yeah.
That is really stupid. Really, really stupid.
No, it's well, it's the same thing as The Wizard of Oz, which what
No,
that was a
no, it's
reference to.
not.
It's that, or like the Page Master or whatever. It's like, I
Page
mean,
Master.
obviously you could have ended the adventure at any time, but then they wouldn't have learned the lesson. And the lesson was, hey Twilight, you should, wear your
So
crown.
what? What is this like? Just kind of Celestia being
It's
a dick and saying, "Hey," instead of just telling her the lesson, I'll endanger two worlds at once.
yeah, it's again, Celestia is the Glinda in this case.
Now,
It's
honestly, I'm gonna
let me
make
teach you a really obvious lesson through a crazy, dangerous adventure, and then tell you that you could have gone home.
now. I want
Along,
to say this. There's possibly a very underlining story kind of with what Celestia is doing there, and I think I have an idea of kind of like the whole thing, which is really cool that they got that underlying kind of story arc with
ooh,
Celestia and Twilight.
do tell.
Well, if you've noticed, um, I thought about this, and it makes sense. It perfectly makes sense why Twilight would become, powerful, kind of next level, and transcend. Is that Celestia has been looking and training these people not only to be able to use the elements, but possibly to replace her and her sister at one point. She's training the next generation. She's looking for the person to lead them. And she also knew that the elements wouldn't, her Deus Ex Machina wouldn't really hold forever. And that also validates the whole Discord thing, with Reformation and everything. And so pretty much a lot of these major events are completely validated in the overarching underlying storyline. Basically, Celestia knew this whole time 90% of the events that were going to happen. And she's been basically planning and structuring Twilight to take them on.
I like that. I do. Problem, the lesson in this movie is, Twilight, you should really wear that crown.
Well, it's not really
wear
that.
crown.
It's just basically the lesson is kind of a reinforcement on what the whole show teaches, and
Well,
with our powers we can defeat you.
I feel like
take the crown.
It's kind of also really about her becoming more comfortable as a leader about
a little bit.
the whole thing, because just like at the beginning of the story, she's just
And that's another thing.
all kinds of nervous, and she doesn't want to actually take on all this responsibility. She doesn't feel like she's ready for it, but then she goes through this, she does all of that, and it gives her the confidence she needs with being a leader, which could play into your thing, which...
Well, here's another thing, which is ironic. She says at the beginning, Sunshine Shimmer was a previous student, if you remember, which means Celestia's been doing this for a while now, which, if you think about it, that makes sense. If you were looking for the next great leader, you would be trying to train them and find it. You'd be apprenticing them. And so one would kind of figure that there would be previous attempts.
Right, but you would have to remember that within Canterlot there is the school that Twilight was going to at the beginning, and the only reason Twilight is basically an honor roll student. She got
she
shoved
was
ahead
more
to
than
be...
an honor roll. She was handpicked from the get-go. I mean, with her whole discovery of her power.
Right, which also begs the question, why is Sunset Shimmer so young still? Because considering that Twilight has been at Celestia's basically first most student since she was a child, that would mean that Sunset Shimmer would probably have to be something like twice as old as Twilight.
Maybe not. I mean, she might be older than her, but not significantly. I'd say maybe like about half her age. I think she'd probably be about half Twilight's age older.
That's still pretty significant.
No, hold on. Because Celestia might have been training her, and then, that big whole thing happens, and so now Twilight Celestia says, this might be the one. And so she trains her, but, I mean, I'm doubting that she knows from the get-go, this is the one, yep, know it, right away, off the bat. And so I'm thinking that she trains for her for a while, and that's also probably how Sunset knew of Twilight too, was because Twilight had been around while Sunset was, being trained. And I think actually I can't remember why Sunset actually did kind of run away. Some about, but I'm thinking that might have something to do with it. She kind of feel that she was starting to get a little bit of a cold shoulder from her mentor.
That's right. All right, so the only thing I think we've left out of the plot here, though, is the romantic subplot, kind of. I think
Not existent.
Yeah, it's like there's supposed to be a love interest who's I don't even
Okay,
I think
yeah,
his
well,
name is Flash Sentry, which
Yes,
you don't
it
find
is.
out till
It
the
is
end.
existent. It's just, well, okay. It's existent only in the aspect of the like the other world, and thankfully,
It's just super tacked on and like
yeah,
not even a little bit fleshed out. It's just like, hey, here's a guy. Twyla likes him.
no
Okay.
reason why. Just he looked at her funny.
Yeah, no reason, and like it doesn't even really go anywhere. It's just like, hey, this is a character, and it's like they're together, but you don't really see him more than like twice, and then
Actually,
oh,
but you know what?
tearful goodbye.
You know what? I kind of have a feeling that that's how most high school relationships kind of seem to start out, and then
Um,
come to a swift end. Not much later. Hey, that guy.
that's
He
fair.
looked at me funny. He's hot. You should go out.
Yeah, I remember early on before the movie actually came out, and it was teased that he would be in there. There was this comic which was it was essentially this tearful goodbye between her and him, and then he's like, "I'll go with you. I must return with you." And she's like, "What? Who are you on the other
Oh, I
side?" He's like,
remember
"You'll
that.
see." And then they go through, and he's Gummy,
Yeah, I remember that. That was the
and
funniest thing ever.
that was pretty hilarious. But no, he's a royal guard.
That that would have been hilarious.
I would have loved that.
They think
But
they should have done that.
yeah, I would have really liked that.
They could have really. You know what? If they did do that, I would have been fine with I would have just said the whole movie was okay. Just
Yeah,
because
I would
of
have
that.
been just from that one moment. I
That
would
would
have
have
been
just
great
been
with this
so
movie.
hilarious.
It'd be a 90-minute punchline to one joke.
Certainly.
Okay. So yeah, the plot kind of shaky,
Holes.
not great. Yeah, holes all through. Boop 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 boop. It's like Swiss cheese. You gotta poke out the pimentos.
Yeah, it's been well fired upon.
Yeah. So after that, let's look at the design of the characters visually. Yeah, they look like brats, but with My Little Pony. It's
Yeah, what's up
basically
the
like
high
if there was a
boots
brat,
and short skirts?
if there was a Bratz game, this would be the mod of that.
You know,
I'm
what
quite
if it actually kind of seems funny. It's like, what if the whole fashion thing is just where only a certain percentage of leg is allowed to be shown at one time, and so to compensate for the very short skirt, they increase the length of the boot.
I could see that. It's kind of a very Japanese ideal, which is that in Japan, you can show as much leg as you'd like, and still covering your shins and calves are still okay, but no cleavage. It has to be all up to the neck. So I don't know if that's where that's coming from, considering that quite a lot of artists will have taken influence from Japanese, and then it would come from that culture and things. But yeah, it's definitely nothing too special. They have like a eye tattoo kind of thing, which
Oh,
it
with the
looks like
newest
a
one? Oh god, the newest don't even get. Oh,
yeah.
it's so.
We'll get to that in just a minute here. But yeah, it's nothing special. It's again, it's high school movie sort of design. They're kind of yeah. Everybody's the same colors as they are in the other world, which is kind of weird and all that. And then yeah, there's not a lot to say about the design. It's what you'd expect. The animation, pretty good. Still Studio
Yeah,
B.
the animation wasn't bad.
There are
honestly.
definitely some errors in there, but there's still errors in the show. It's 4 seasons in, so that's to be expected. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's its own thing, but It's okay. It doesn't look stilted or anything.
No, no.
It's kind of bizarre seeing a human character running on all fours, because
That was
that's kind of the point, though.
that was kind of funny and interesting, I guess. You know, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think it's funny, but like this has been something that's happened in a lot of like action movies, like uh the X-Men movies. Whenever Wolverine or
Oh
Sabretooth try and run on all
yeah.
fours, that looks so awkward and wrong. It's like that's not how the human body moves or works. This
It
is
was
not
never
gonna
meant
look
to be
interesting.
used this way.
What have you done? Oh, yeah. Or even, well, no, I guess in Twilight they're just running along, but it also looks really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Animation, design, it's again about what you'd expect. Music, much poppier. So like the Equestria Girls song, the promo one with Pinkie Pie and Spike Doggy Dog.
Oh yeah, the music was alright. You know, it wasn't bad. I didn't mind
Yeah,
it.
it's definitely poppier, so if that's your thing, cool. But yeah, I didn't care too much for it. I don't know. It's it's just super poppy, and I'm not super into poppy stuff. Like I don't hate poppy stuff, but it's clear when it's being very vapid. And yeah, I have similar problems with the lyrics that I have with the show's lyrics, which are that there are some pretty glaringly obvious mistakes in there, which there's too many to mention in any of it, just because it definitely it's definitely written by people who are writing for the show rather than the people who are writing the music. So there's a lot of incongruousness between how good the actual score and accompaniment is versus how good the lyrics are. So yeah, I don't care too much for the lyrics. They're okay. Again, it's about what you'd expect. So yeah, all of that. And as we stated at the beginning, the reception was a lot better than people assumed, which
Oh yeah, a
was
lot better than what people said.
yeah, people were like, this is going to be horrible, it's not going to be watchable, and it's like, yeah, it's not bad. It's not great
Way
by
better
any
than what I
means.
expected. Then again,
But
maybe
yeah.
maybe that's what Hasbro's intentions.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
what
god,
we're
what if they show us the worst parts that they can find, just so that way we think it's gonna be terrible, unwatchable, nothing good, so they can just blow our expectations and we'll be like, oh, that was a lot better than what I expected.
That's kind of an analogy for the entire show, though, because nobody really, I'm sure none of us really expected, oh, My Little Pony's coming back. So, but then we saw it and we're like, wow, our expectations were like at the bottom, and this is
Yeah, well,
far surpassing anything we thought it was gonna be.
yeah, but here's the thing. The show is good.
Yeah, and you could make an argument that the movie is good, and really,
And you
it's
can
not.
lose that argument.
It's kind of mediocre, honestly. This is about on the bell curve. It would hit the tippy top every time, the little curve point. Though I guess curves don't have a
It
point.
would hit the meh.
The apex, the mepex. Yes, words we are making them up. Trendsetters. Yeah. So the reason we bring up Equestria Girls, and it's good that we're explaining this a good 20 minutes to a half hour after we started talking about it, but the reason we bring it up is they announced a sequel recently, which is Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks, which
And-
is instead of being a high school movie, it's a high school band movie. They start a band and they play instruments apparently, which never came up before.
Yeah,
But,
didn't know they
yeah.
like to do that whatsoever. Never referenced
it was
that.
it was never anything, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Like I didn't care too much for this, but I feel like it did surpass things. But really, the turning point for me was a recent promo with Final Scratch where she's going along the streets and she's listening to dubstep and it's
Yeah.
going along and okay, backstory. Final Scratch for the longest time has been one of my favorite background ponies just because of her design, and the name is actually probably one of the more clever ones. It's actually a subtle name, Final Scratch, but everybody's always thought, well, she'd be dubstep because dubstep's great. I hate dubstep. I'm gonna bring that
Disc
I'm gonna
jockey.
bring that about right now because even good dubstep is not very good. And to be honest with you, if you gave me 10 minutes, I could bust out an easily passable dubstep track. It is not really that hard. If you get into minute details, it takes a lot of time and it does take a lot of effort. I'll admit that, but nothing about it really speaks to me as being that challenging or being that great of music. And for the longest time, I was really hoping that she would be a hardstyle DJ or even a gabber DJ, which, if you've looked into DJing, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, that probably went over your head. But really, I wanted her to be an actual DJ rather than, just this dubstep raver. Yeah. It
Rave.
was inevitable. I knew that eventually it would become, if it ever any
Pop
style of
culture.
music became canon for her, it would be dubstep. But I was dreading that day because I really wanted to keep it in my head that she would have, better music. Yeah, that's my own personal preference. I'm not saying anything bad about anyone who makes dubstep or anyone who listens to dubstep. Enjoy your music, and if you do it and it's what you love to do, do it. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not gonna listen to it. I'm not gonna enjoy it. But if you like to do dubstep, do it to the best of your ability. Do what you love. But personally, I was hoping that Final Scratch would not love to do it. I was hoping that she would love other things. But yeah,
What
I'm
if she was
not
just
looking forward to
dancing
that.
to different music, but they overlaid?
Oh my, yeah, it's like if you've seen the Benny Hill to Ravers video where they took yakety sax the da 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 and they overlaid it over a bunch of like crumping, awkward white boys just dancing and it fits perfectly. Or like or LMFAO's Party Rock Anthem. There's a little breakdown where they're just dancing in the video. Somebody overlaid that with the Cantina music from Star Wars, the do 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 do, and it fits perfectly. I don't know if they did any
Oh,
editing because I didn't want to actually go back and look, but it's like a perfect match.
you
Like
know what? I
every
could
little thing.
that. If that's what it is, that's my headcanon.
Yeah, I like to think that there was different music there, and then they're like, let's just, or like they plan to have different music, and it's like, let's animate it to this dubstep track, and then like put a different track later. This will be our placeholder until we can find something better. And then it came down to the wire, and they're like, dubstep, whatever. It's all right. Ain't no problems with dubsteps. Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to it. It'll probably be better than I think, because following the rule of anything Hasbro does, it'll be better than you think. But
Oh, not anything that they do. Sorry, anything that the Studio B does.
yes, the Studio B rule is if you think it won't be good, it'll be all right.
Yeah. Well,
So I'll probably,
the more you hate it, the better it'll be.
yeah, so I'm gonna see it. I'm probably not gonna like it too much, but I'm sure we'll do an episode on it after that. So be looking forward to that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, any final thoughts on Equestria Girls, Light Solver?
Um. Well, the fact that they did a high school one, and now they're gonna do the other common rock band one, but they're probably still gonna be using elements of the high school one, so that's kind of like a double whammy right there from the start. So
Yeah,
whatever
that's
they're
the thing
doing,
is they decided to go with the most cliche the premises is what if they were in a high school? What if they started a band? Do they play instruments? They do now.
yeah, and so the thing that's gonna come from that is there. That's a double whammy from the start. That if they integrate both of those into the newest one, that's just right off the bat. That's gonna be a hard ball to play.
Yeah, basically. It'll be interesting. We'll see it. We'll comment on it. All
Well,
that. You'll be hearing from us in another
we'll see it. We'll hate it.
few
We'll get
months or
over it.
so. Whenever it comes out. Yeah, we'll be
Speaking of
fine.
which, actually,
The fandom won't end.
speaking of which, yeah, the fandom's response. I think that it certainly deserves something.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Because during the first one, it was kind of like end of the world, stupid shit like that. But now it's just kind of like, oh yeah, that exists. Okay. It's just kind of like he couldn't care less. And I mean, yeah, well, I'm thinking it's probably gonna suck, but that's a separate thing. And I like that. I'm good with that. That's what my thoughts on what it is. But I am very much more happy and content to see that the reaction of what most of the fandom is. It's just kind of like we have our expectations and they're set fairly low, but you could always blow them and it'll do what it does, and whatever it does isn't that big of a thing.
That's the thing I feel is the problem with this is the end of the fandom crowd, is that their expectations are far too high. So guys, just lower your expectations. Remember,
just lower your expectations in life.
Yeah. Remember that it was a fluke that we got anything good out of this franchise, and that anything that's even decent coming out of here is more than we deserve.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no rule book that said they had to make something good from the get-go. So the fact that they did, that's why we have to really give a round of applause to them, because they did give us something good. It's kind of like, thank you.
Yeah, they could have given us hot garbage, and then we wouldn't even be here, really. We'd probably just be off doing our own things, regardless of this. Or, well, I probably know where I'd be. Yeah. References to older episodes. All right. I think that's about all we can really say about Equestria Girls. I mean, I could probably talk for far longer, but I think that's all that really needs to be said.
Yeah, okay. So, I think that, I think that wraps it up. So, we now move on to our last section of the day, our random cool things section, in which we tell you about something interesting or cool we found that doesn't really have to be pony related. First off, let's start with you, Dapperjack. What is your thing?
Yes, love that fluid intro. All right, my thing is something I've been waiting for a long, long, long time. And I'm really excited that this came out, and I did get it, and I've been listening to it nonstop. This is an album from my favorite group of all time. Keep that in mind. This is my favorite group of all time, The Correspondents, who are made up of Chucks, the producer, and Mr. Bruce, who is the MC / vocalist / dancer if you go to their live shows, which, unless you're in the UK or Australia, you probably haven't, which I'm really hoping they do a US tour. So they are hip-hop swing, which is a really bizarre genre.
I actually know of this group. I don't know of this song, but I know of this group because I've seen at least one or two. I think it was one of their songs. And it was pretty good. It's got a nice, lively, jazzy beat to it. It's
that might have been
Well Measured Vice.
Well Measured Vice. Yeah, that's This is what I'm talking about here is the album, because before they've put out EPs, and they have been around a good 5 years already, so they have put out stuff. But this is the first full album that they've put out.
Oh, really?
Which they were only able to do because Mr. Bruce broke his foot, so they couldn't do any gigs. Because if Mr. Bruce can't dance, there's no gig happening.
Actually, one of the things that I remember that he did in that was he did a full page-by-page animation for the song of Well Measured Vice, or frame by frame. What was I saying?
Yeah, no, that's the thing is when he injured himself, they put out Well Measured Vice, the animated video, which he is first and foremost a painter, he's a really good painter as well. He's classically trained, I believe, and he did go to school for that, but he's also the MC for this group, which he's also spectacular at. And so they've put out 2 different animated videos. They've put out Well Measured Vice, and they've put out Alarm Call, which personally I prefer the Well Measured Vice video to Alarm Call, But aside from either of those, I prefer the Fear and Delight video. If you enjoy the visual medium in any way, look at the Fear and Delight video. It is the best music video I've ever seen. It's all no CGI, no anything. It's just camera trickery, this insane effect that they do, and it's so hard to describe. But if you go and watch that, it's probably the best music video I've ever seen. But going on to the album, which I have been trying to get my own personal solo podcast out for a long time called Dapper Time, and I do have like pilots that I've tried out and they didn't quite work, but I'll probably do my pilot on this album because I'm so excited about it.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And the thing is, with the album, it's a lot slower than you'd expect, considering the correspondence. If you hear any of their stuff, it's very fast-paced hip-hop swing sort of stuff.
Yeah,
which
like Vice, like Low Measured Vice.
Yeah, it's definitely in the vein of Caravan Palace or, what is it, Tape 5? Just all of those sort of new age swing things that are going on, which I personally love the whole genre, but yeah, it's a lot slower than you'd think, which is fine by me. I was actually hoping for more slow songs, considering they've mostly only put out singles up to this point. And singles are okay, but they end up always being the thing that's most likely to get people pumped up and going, so it's all fast stuff. They're not going to put out a slow song in a single. They're going to put it out as a, album between everything so that you can keep everything moving and flowing in sort of a wave form, so to speak. Making albums is a whole thing. But the thing that annoys me is that Washington Square, which is my absolute favorite correspondence song, is not in the album.
Oh, really? That's your favorite
one? Granted, they put it out 5 years ago in 2009, but they haven't put out an album since. Like, it's on EPs and stuff, and you can get it, but it's like, I wanted to hear that on here. All they have that they've put out before is Well Measured Vice and Alarm Call and Fear and Delight, which I like all those songs. I definitely like all the other songs on the album, but I really wanted to hear Washington Square on an album. It's yeah, that was kind of a disappointment in that fact. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely go over this album a lot more in Dapper Time if you guys want to go listen to that when I put it out in the next couple of weeks or something when I'm less busy, which I'm very busy. I don't remember. I have so much I'm writing and I'm lyricking and I'm doing all this stuff for different projects and yep. Anyways, what you got for us, Light Solver?
I got something that probably a number of people have heard about. I'm talking about the Heartbleed bug, which I don't know if many people, probably a few people probably heard about that, but it's basically a backdoor in what is it? It's either SSL. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, SSL, which a lot of websites use, to where somebody can request data from the website, and while it's being passed through, the SSL will send out a little packet of that data. I think actually only a maximum size of like 64 bytes at a time is what it'll like allow to be sent out in each packet. But it basically meant that they could get into the database and get anyone's get people's passwords, information. They could basically completely ruin any website, because about 1/3 or more, I want to say, than that, used SSL in their website, and so this was a major flaw.
Yeah, I liked how XKCD put out a comic explaining how it worked, which essentially is that you ask the server, you can ask it to give you a certain amount of information based on a specific item. So the way they put it is, server, spell hat, 3 letters, and the server spells hat, and there's all this invisible information around it in a line, and then it's, spell tree, 4 letters, and it's like tree, and then there's all the invisible information, and then it's like spell cucumber, 500 letters, and then it just spells out all of the invisible information after the actual word.
Yeah.
That's how it works, is you just request more characters than the actual item that you're searching for is...
Basically, I guess you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good analogy, and it's a pretty horrible flaw, which should have been fixed kind of like immediately.
Well, I mean,
when
there's a
this
lot of flaws in
system came out.
everything that we have. You'd just be surprised they haven't really been quite found yet. And, I mean, it's been around now for, a few weeks. But one thing that I do want people to keep in mind is changing your passwords or doing anything will not affect anything whatsoever. Actually, it's better if you don't change your passwords, just because that brings your the change of your password up in the database.
Right, all of your
recent thing.
All your password information would be in the archive far back, so it'd take a lot more digging to find that rather than this person just changed their password just now in the information that I was just looking at.
Yeah,
so
it would be
now we know.
And also, yeah, it'd be being filed and processed, which when the data was being sent, it would basically kind of bleed off that data as well. Actually, that's where the term comes from. It would bleed off that data more relevantly. And so, yeah, don't change your passwords. I always kind of have to chuckle when people said, "Oh yeah, I heard about that bug, so I changed my password."
Yeah, I don't bother. I feel like I'm extremely lucky in that I have never gotten any kind of virus or hack or anything on any computer I've ever owned. And I'm not sure if that's luck or if it's a fluke or if I'm just somehow the most careful person in the world or if I'm just the least interesting person and nobody wants to hack me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've never had troubles. And a lot of people say I'm jinxing myself when I say that, but I say that anytime the topic comes up, and I still haven't.
Well, I mean, when it comes to hacking, few people truly get hacked. I mean, relatively. I mean, hacking personal, just everyday people isn't something that hackers do, because there's a lot of people in this world, and most of them don't really have that many things interesting on their computer.
Yeah, I think the mindset to keep is that just assume that if it feels even slightly sketchy, you need to be careful. Because I'm not saying like I'm super careful or anything. I'll go and I'll torrent something from ages ago on a really sketchy site that like nobody's been on, and there's all kinds of horrible stuff. Oh no, I'm talking about like torrents.eu, a hot torrent, fire stuff, bit snoop. It's like all this really obscure stuff.
Why?
Yeah, because that's the only place where you can find the 2000 remake of Speed Racer. Duh.
Oh,
in fact,
I'm sorry.
that's something I'm putting a call out right now. If anybody has any form of the Speed Racer cartoon from 2000, Speed Racer 2000 Makakogo 1999, if you have that, contact me. I've only found one episode. It's stalled at 87.5% on my BitTorrent for the past year. I need to find this series. I want to prove that I'm not crazy and that it existed, because there's literally no DVDs of it. There's no legitimate way to win it. If you have a DVR or if you taped it yourself, you'll have it. But there's no other way to get it, because all sorts of stuff, and I feel like I'm going crazy and that it doesn't actually exist. And I'm not crazy. I know it existed. I watched many episodes. I watched the whole run. It was awesome. It's the
Have you
I'm a huge Speed Racer fan.
You ever tried YouTube?
Yeah. I've looked. You can find like super grainy openings, but that's it. Because it's literally it's never been released because there was all kind of licensing issues between the company that actually produced it and the distribution company over here. So it was never put on DVD, and there's nobody who's able to legally claim it. So there's no evidence of it existing on the official sites. So there's no way I'm ever going to find it unless somebody has a VHS copy of it or something from back then. And if you do, contact me, please. I need it. It's the only Speed Racer thing I ain't watched. I've watched the X Chronicles or whatever it is, the really crappy CG friggin' like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX version. And yeah, I need to find it is all I'm saying. That's a tangent. All I'm saying is just have some common sense and be very wary And if it seems like it might be sketchy, it's safer to say no to it than it is to say yes to it. Never say yes to any sudden pop-up. If something says
Say
anything,
yes to
but
them
it's like,
all. That's right.
just always say no. If it asks you if you want to leave the page, say yes. Or say yes, but if it says if you want to stay on the page, make sure that you're clicking no, because they'll switch them around, and that will get them in. That's their back door. They'll ask you if you want to stay or not, and in the metadata, they'll get you. They'll get you. You just gotta pay attention. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the reason why actually I know I'm fine. I know a few people who actually do hack and stuff like that. Actually, one of the guys I know is actually even using that heartbleed bug and things like that. So.
Wow.
So yeah, I know some people that do some stuff. So thankfully, which is a good thing actually, because then you know how not to get that stuff and how to stay safe from that stuff. People tell you, oh yeah, it's really easy. Just you just do this, and if you want to stay safe, don't do that.
Yeah, it's common sense, and I'm not saying you'll never get anything, but just don't just be clicking things without thinking. Also, ad block is a
Ad
good
block is
safety measure.
amazing.
Like whitelist the sites like YouTube or wherever where people are actually making money off of it, but do use it on sketchy sites because all of the ads will be gone, so only the legitimate link that you actually want to click to get the thing that you want will be left.
You know what I'm noticing, and I know what I just kind of thought about, and I think I might be noticing. Like I've seen this a few times. Product placement in the actual, or advertising in the actual show, to where it's not like an ad at the beginning, but like the company actually contacts whatever person is making the show and says, oh, we'll sponsor you if you advertise for us in your show. And
Well, that's
I can see why they would do that, because you can't really ad block that, because then you'd be ad blocking your actual show that you're trying to watch.
Yeah, that's even if you produce anything for YouTube, which I do. Dapper Jack on YouTube. Look it up. I got music on there. You'll like it. It's funny. But yeah, if you monetize anything, they'll show that there's 3 different ways to monetize. There's the there's the little ad on the bottom, there's the pre-roll and post-roll ad, and then you can also have the option of advertising within the video, and then you link to what you're advertising and all that, and it'll have that as an option, but you got to actually claim it if you're doing it.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's its own whole thing. But definitely any of that. Also, if you download anything and it tries to make you download an installer to download the thing, get out of there. Get out.
Well,
No, this installer is the virus. Don't do it.
no, it's not always true. That's not.
Okay, if you're on
If-
Softonic or something and they try and make you download an installer, that's a bad scene.
Just use Google Chrome or Firefox, either one. And stay away from anything that flashes a lot.
Yeah.
Stay away from things that say you might have a virus, because they are the virus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that my mom has, like a Vista computer from when
God.
Vista was a thing, and it's so jam-packed with viruses.
Vista was never a thing, and it should never be.
It's so jam-packed with viruses because it was the family computer, and all my little siblings would go on really terrible dress-up game websites, and they would click all of the ads because they thought they were more games. And yeah, viruses, fun. And she would not let me install Spybot Search and Destroy because, and I quote, it says it's a spybot right in the title.
I don't know about Spybot Search and Destroy. I honestly don't really. I've never really used that. I haven't really heard about it, and so I don't know if it's good or safe or anything. But
It's
Malwarebytes.
It's definitely safe.
Malwarebytes is good.
If you use Malwarebytes, Spybot Search and Destroy, and Microsoft Security Essentials or Avast. If you use the three of those, some combination of those three in tandem together,
Vast,
then it tends to keep you pretty safe. That's all I use is Malwarebytes, Microsoft Security Essentials, and Spyware Search and Destroy. So they're all, catching anything that the other is missing.
Well, Microsoft Security really doesn't do shit.
Nope, but I still have it there. It's never given me a message or anything saying that it's caught anything. So
Or
it was
that it's Norton, thankfully.
yeah, it's free. It's not bugging me about subscriptions, so I'm fine. Yeah, I can lend the CPU.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep. So, in conclusion, let's just do a little wrap up of everything we've gone through today. Check out the video on Road to Everfree. Check out, the 30th anniversary on Equestria Daily. They got a little thing for you. They got the blind bag at Taobao. They got the preview on iTunes of Comic 18. Equestria Girls is good. It's all right. It's okay. It's worth the evening. You ain't got nothing better to do. Go check it out. You'll have a good time. Have a friend over, have some popcorn.
Or at least you can just laugh at all the moments they do kind of screw up.
Have a little kettle corn maybe. It might give you cavities, but you got brush. And correspondence album, really good. I'm gonna be putting out Dapper Time eventually in the next few weeks, hopefully if I get time. And Heartbleed, keep yourself protected, folks.
If you have a server, make sure you patch it.
Yes, servers, patch that stuff. If you have that, though, I'm sure if you're someone who has gotten deep enough into things to have a server, you probably already did that. Hopefully.
And if it was one of my friends who got you, sorry about that in advance.
Yeah, that's his fault. Send your hate mail to lightsolver@podcast@gmail.com.
Do we? No, we don't have those yet. We don't have those. Or wait, do we? I can't remember. I could have sworn I thought somebody said about getting emails.
It's okay. We'll snatch up podcast@gmail.com.
Oh wait,
I'm sure it's
remember.
open.
I can say this. I do remember. We actually have a spot on our EFNW's website now.
That's right. What's that, Light Solver? Give us the deets.
I don't know yet. I have to open it up.
You're useless.
Screw you.
Ah!
Hold on, I'm scrolling. Because I just thought about that just now. And if I can find it. Auctioning. Blah, blah, blah. Meetup.
Yep. We should have a speech on there. It's finding it.
Yeah, it's somewhere in this vast thing.
We're definitely, as things go on, we are becoming more and more legitimate until we become sentient.
Oh, wait a minute. What's this?
And the podcast revolution
No,
begins.
That's not it.
It begins.
Yeah. Just remember, you saw a convention podcast here first.
Was that our idea?
Yes, that was our idea. I thought that up.
Wait. Nobody's done the convention podcast thing before?
Not that I know of. I mean...
Really?
Yeah, I kind of had the idea one night and just you know what? We should do something that I have never seen or heard of whatsoever before. A podcast.
Trendsetters. I think that's the 5th time I've said that tonight. We said many trends.
We could maybe go on with a live counter or something.
Trend set 14.
Yeah, hopefully we can
In 3
transcend the typical expectations of the convention.
Yes, hopefully we can have original musics in here,
Yeah,
which I will help work on. Don't secrets. It will be in the works.
Yeah, well, that link is lost. I don't know where it is, but you can't really access it quite just yet from our website. I don't you can. It's on our website, but it's not list. You have to know the link to get to it.
Hold on. No, that's not what I meant at all.
I don't know what you meant.
Sorry, I'm googling it to see, because sometimes Google will be able to
the Google bots.
Yeah, but no, that brought up some other Evergreen Church podcast, which if you go to the Evergreen Church, hi, we just gave you a shout out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Evergreen Church. Don't know if it's any good or not, but it's there.
Yeah, it exists.
You exist! Congratulations! You get a
Woo,
get a medal for
yeah.
existing.
The existence of other things that you may think exist are up to you. Not gonna make any solid judgments on that. What?
Alright. But unless I don't think we have any other news to bring, and our wonderful and all-powerful PVL broadcaster Nexus has allowed us to run overtime to make up for the time that we've lost.
Yes, which thankfully we're not too far over time, I don't think. But yeah, lovely little take 3 here. 3 takes, people. It's not too bad for being the 3rd episode. 1 take an episode, yeah.
Take a lot of episode, yeah.
Yeah, which is, it's okay. Light Silver, he's figuring stuff out. He will have it better next time. It will be not a problem. And if you're listening to this recorded, you ain't even gonna know what's going on. It's gonna be edited. It's gonna be slick. It's gonna be
Yes, we have people who edit. Edit, you know what? Recording is always easier.
Yes, and by the next time, we'll probably have all of our things set up and, yeah, stuff set up. You want your music featured, you'll probably be able to email it to us next time.
Yeah.
That'll be a thing.
Well,
if you want
actually, if you do happen to want that, you can just send us a just email us. Just basically email our PR, and we'll get to you on that.
Yes, email the Everfree Northwest PR, which can be found at everfreenorthwest.com or everfreenw.com. That is, and just email them saying, hey, we listen to Everfree Northwest Presents, and hey, you know, that music's all right, but I got something better for you. Listen to this, it's ching ching C chord, it's octave below, yeah, major.
To what?
Octave below? I don't know. Major, minor, 7th, I don't remember. I got a mix. I got a MIDI keyboard.
Well, why don't we reel you in before this goes on too long? Go ahead.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit wacky now because this is again 3rd take, and it's been quite a fun night for us. But yes, we should probably end this off. So, Lightsaber, bring us home.
Wrong name, but okay.
Thank
you.
Solve. I don't.
Close. Thank you once again for joining us, and as always, you can catch us live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fillydelphia Radio at fillydelphiaradio.net or at livestream.com/Everfree Northwest Presents.
That's EFNW Presents.
And to lead us out, we have Gypsy Bard. This is a remix version, right?
It's actually a ska cover that Filsterman 10 did. I used to follow him a bit more. I'm not caring for him as much lately, but yeah, this is a nice little extended ska cover that he did that I actually quite like.
All right. Well, here it is to lead us off.
When you're rife with devastation, there's a simple explanation. You're a toy maker's creation, trapped inside a crystal ball. And whichever way he tilts it, know that we must be resilient. We won't let them break our spirits as we sing this silly song. When we were colts and fillies, a galloping blaze overtook our city. They shipped us off to the orphanage, said ditch those roots if you want to fit in. So we dug 1,000 holes and cut a rug with orphan poles. Now memories are blurred and the faces are obscured, but we still know the words of this song. When you've bungled all your bangles and your loved ones have been mangled, listen to the jingle jangle of my gypsy tambourine. Cause these chords are hypnotizing and the whole world's harmonizing. So please children, stop your crying and just sing along with me. When your bad luck seems to follow and it feels too tough to swallow, just remember it's our life here deep inside this crystal ball. While each tilt we may not favor, there's a few that we can savor. So come on, let's keep our chin up as we sing this silly song.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's part of living. It could be worse, so accept it easy. So I just say, take it all in stride. Be proud you have the string to get by. So as I dig my 1,000th hole, let's cut a rug with all the full. Cause a new day dawns and it's time to move on. Just remember the words of this song. When you're down on your luck and think you just can't get unstuck, just listen to me run amok with my gypsy melody. Cause these chords are hypnotizing and the whole world's harmonizing. So please children, stop your crying and just sing along with me.